Good morning everyone. As you all know that in the last period we have studied about different dynasties that had ruled India before the time of Shivaji Maharaj. On the other hand, we have seen two different separate kingdoms that had established Vijayanagar and Bahmani kingdom, how the conflicts arose among different sardars for the possession of Delhi. And at last, Hassan Gangu, the king of Bahmani kingdom, had defeated Muhammad bin Tughlaq, the Sultan of Delhi. This way, the Delhi Sultanate came to an end in 1526 CE. After that, Mughal powers arose, and the first king of Mughal dynasty, was Babur. Babur was the king of Fargana in Central Asia, that is present in today's Uzbekistan. Babur had heard about enormous wealth in India, so he planned that he is going to conquer different parts of India and loot all the wealth. At that time, Ibrahim Lodi was ruling as a Sultan of Delhi Sultanate. If you remember, in the last part of the lesson, we have studied about Daulat Khan Lodi. He was the governor of Punjab. He invited Babur to defeat Ibrahim Lodi. At that time, Babur was ruling Kabul. Daulat Khan Lodi, the governor of Punjab, was working for the Sultanate of Delhi, and he was not happy with the relationship from Ibrahim Lodi. Here, both of them were having tense relation and were not happy with each other. So, Daulat Khan Lodi again decided that he would invite Babur to defeat Ibrahim Lodi and conquer the different regions in India. Babur was very happy by listening this. So he took the opportunity and he captured different parts of India, establishing his ruling powers. As we have studied in the first part of the lesson, we know that Ibrahim Lodi got defeated from Babur. But this time, Ibrahim Lodi had put a lots of effort to win the battle. Along with his huge army, he wanted to invade Babur. There was a battle between Ibrahim Lodi and Babur on 21st April 1526 at Panipat. But in this battle, Babur used a great war equipments that were good in quality and were used for the first time in India. At last, Ibrahim Lodi again got defeated with Babur. This was known as the First Battle of Panipat. This battle resulted to the end of Delhi Sultanate. After the first battle of Panipat, a great Rajput king, Rana Sanga from Mewar, had brought all the Rajput kings together to fight against Babur, to defeat him in the war. So, there was a battle between Babur and Rana Sanga at Kanau. Here again Babur had used his great war equipments and a good army force which had defeated Rana Sanga. And after this defeat, Babur had laid down his life and Babur died in 1530 CE. After the death of Babur, his son Humayun took the charge of Mughal power. Humayun from 1530 CE to 1539 CE and from 1555 CE to 1556 CE looked after the Sultanate. But he got defeated by Sher Shah. Sher Shah had established the Sur dynasty on the throne of Delhi, and after Humayun, his son Akbar took the charge from 1556 CE to 1605 CE. In this way, we have seen three generations of Mughals. Beginning with the first one, Babur. Babur's son was Humayun, and Humayun's son was Akbar. Moving on to the next part, let's see who are the next ones. Akbar was the most powerful king of the Mughal dynasty. He had to face lots of enemies in his life. Among them, one of the king was Hemu. Akbar and Hemu had a battle at Panipat in 1556 CE. This is the second battle of Panipat. Akbar's aim of the life was to bring whole of India under his central authority. He would be ruling all the parts of the India and would be the one and sole superior king. After Akbar, his son Jahangir took the position from 1605 CE to 1628 CE. In this, we have seen one more generation, that is, Akbar's son was Jahangir. After Akbar, Jahangir became the emperor. During his reign, his wife Nur Jahan played an active role in the administration. Jahangir, followed by Shah Jahan, that is, Jahangir's son was Shah Jahan. He ruled from 1628 CE to 1658 CE as the emperor of the Mughal dynasty. After Shah Jahan, the next great emperor was Aurangzeb. Even he ruled for a longer period of time, that is, from 1658 CE to 1707 CE. After the death of Aurangzeb, the Mughal Empire became weak. Now, in this, we have seen two more generations, that is, Shah Jahan and Aurangzeb. Let's quickly take the review of family tree of Mughals. Babur's son was Humayun. Humayun's son was Akbar. Akbar's son was Jahangir. Jahangir's son was Shah Jahan. And Shah Jahan's son was Aurangzeb. Remember this properly. We know that Akbar was the most powerful, capable, eminent king of the Mughal dynasty. When he thought that he would bring India under his one central authority, that is, he would be the one who would rule all the parts of India, he had to face lots of opposition. Among them, the strong rulers who had opposed Akbar were Maharana Pratap, Chand Bibi, Rani Durgavati, and many more. Their struggle against Akbar is noteworthy. Many of the rulers had sacrificed their life against fighting with the Akbar. Among them, one of the great ruler was Maharana Pratap. At that time, Uday Singh was the king of Mewar. After the death of Uday Singh, Maharana Pratap took the charge of Mewar. He continued the struggle for Mewar's existence, did not let the Mewar region under the hands of Akbar. Till the very end of his life, he had struggled with Akbar to maintain his independence and not let go down his kingdom. Maharana Pratap has become immortal, meaning never forgotten, will always be remembered in history due to his qualities of valor. Never get afraid of anything, especially in the battlefield. Courage, strong, brave behavior, a brave courage to fight against anyone. Self respect, that is, respect for ourselves, and sacrifice. These all qualities had made him a great person in a history. After conquering the region of Mewar and defeating a great ruler, Maharana Pratap, now the Mughals thought they would conquer some other territory and defeat some other ruler. Moving on to the next ruler is a great ruler, Chand Bibi. She did not lay down her life in front of Mughals in an easier way. Let's see. The Mughals attacked Ahmednagar, the capital of Nizam Shahi's kingdom, in 1595 CE. The Mughal army put the fort of Ahmednagar under siege. They had surrounded the fort from all the four sides with their army forces and could not allow any of the person to get any essential items. And ultimately, what this may result in either to surrender or to lay down their life in front of the Mughals. But Chand Bibi, a great ruler, did not let to do so. Chand Bibi, the capable daughter of Hussain Nizam Shah of Ahmednagar. He was the king at that time. Chand Bibi easily did not defended herself and allowed the Mughals to capture the fort. At this time, there was a great conflict among the Sardars in the Nizam Shahi's kingdom for the position of the king. In return, this resulted in the murder of Chand Bibi. Later, the Mughals captured the fort of Ahmednagar. But ultimately, they were not able to capture the Nizam Shahi kingdom and was not able to brought this kingdom under their control. Now let's see the next great ruler who had fight against the Mughals was Rani Durgavati. She was the daughter of king named Kirat Rai. She was born in a dynasty Chandel Rajput and got married to a king of Gondwana. Gondwana can be broadly said to comprise of different regions that come under its boundaries. Let's see which are the regions. Eastern part of Vidarbha, part of Madhya Pradesh to its north, western part of today's Chhattisgarh, northern part of Andhra Pradesh, and western part of Odisha. So these all regions are under the territory of Gondwana. Durgavati became the queen of Gondwana when she was married. She was named as Rani Durgavati. She was an excellent administrator and would help her husband in the different administrative work related to the kingdom. The struggle of Gondwana Queen Durgavati against the Mughal is important in medieval history. Why? Because after her husband's death, she looked after the kingdom. She had never laid down her kingdom. But when Mughals King Akbar had attacked on the region, Durgavati laid down her life while fighting against Akbar, but did not choose to surrender and to give her kingdom in the hands of Mughal powers. This had made her a more capable and a brave ruler in the medieval history and would be remembered for her great qualities. I hope you have understood the lesson. Thank you. Have a good day.